In this Battletech Tactica vlog, we're going to explore the Banshee, one of my favorite assault mechs, and a mech that I regularly play. This idea in Battletech, just a sidebar for a moment, we're paying battle value, C-bills, tonnage, whatever that currency buy-in that it's going to be, it's got to be out there earning. I want to get the absolute most out of it every single turn. And we explored this previously in looking at the Archer and the Longbow, kind of dedicated, semi-dedicated missile boats. I want to be firing every single turn. I want to be firing at something. Ideally, with those long-range missiles, I'm cutting down on the modifiers. I've got them in the open. I can hit them, maybe in direct fire, but I'm doing something. Even if I need high numbers to hit, I'm doing something. So to have an Archer or a Longbow hanging out in the home base deployment zone, burning turns, doing nothing while the rest of my forces advance, that's not total battle value. I want to get them up usually in the center so I can radiate out the left and right and push that. So within that framework, looking at every mech out there earning, whether it's light, medium, heavy, and assault. So as an assault mech, this is doubly, triply important because we're paying premium C-bills. Even if it's a big game, you're paying a lot of C-bills or you're paying a lot of battle value for that. I want to utilize it. So the different phases of Battletech, the movement phase, shooting phase, physical assault phase, making various pilot checks. I want to kind of be doing something in every single phase to advance that. And the idea of assault mechs in close combat, can we call it close combat in Battletech? The physical attack phase, I want to utilize those tonnage modifiers. Yes, in punching, it's a 1 in 6 chance of hitting the head, but also kicks can be really devastating against lights and mediums. It can just split them in half. Against heavies and assaults, that's a lot of damage. I want to physically engage with my opponent to utilize that tonnage. Now, another way that we utilize tonnage for heavies and assaults, especially assaults, is armor. You've got the most protection, and you've got a variety of weapon systems that we want to utilize, whether that's, in the case of the Longbow, dedicated weapon systems, primarily to long-range missiles, or like you see a lot of assault mechs, a little bit of mix of everything. If you look at the Cyclops or the Atlas, and the Cyclops is not the poor man's Atlas. There's some similarities between the two, but if we explore both of those, the idea is the LRM packs give you something to do at range, and then you kind of switch to lasers, and then when you get real close, you switch to that autocannon 20 blasting away. I have those weapons. I want to use it. So now within that framework, we've got the Banshee. And first thing you notice, where are the guns? Where are the guns? You've got a small laser, autocannon 5. It's not even a 10. You've got an AC5, and you've got a PPC. That's it. No real redundancy. No real multiple long-range brackets. What's kind of going on here? I mean, this armament, if I saw this on a medium mech, if this was like some sort of Wolverine variant, I'd be like, hey, this is pretty good. This armament is like a medium mech. Definitely not a heavy. Definitely not an assault. But it works for the Banshee. And it works with what we're trying to do. What it's tacked on with the rest of that weight is armor, excellent protection, and excellent speed. And the speed is a potential advantage versus what you're going to sacrifice. Generally speaking, another sidebar for a moment here, what we're seeing with assault mechs is, I'm not talking about like the Charger and kind of those mechs. Most assault mechs are that template. They advance slowly. You're firing. You need to have a place where you're going because it's pretty easy to avoid assault mechs. I mean, if we're playing on one hex map, yes, that's different. But multiple hex maps or a traditional wargaming table, if you run at my lance and you've got your assault lance, I might run away, or I can kind of harass you with other units. So what you need to do with an assault mech or an assault lance is figure out, like, where's Fritz going to be? Okay, he's got to defend the city port and the hospital. He's going to be within that for City Fight, City Tech. That's where we're going. This terrain, I'm looking at his lances. He needs this elevation. He needs these woods to kind of get an advantage and pump out all those LRM shots. He's going to be there. That's where I'm sending the assault mech. So many assault mechs, it's point and click and wait for them to arrive. They don't really have much tactical flexibility. Banshee's a little different. I'm not going to be chasing down lights, but I'm going to be chasing down other mechs. I'm going to be at areas very quickly, very fast. It's got some good speed. That combined with wanting to close, how do we earn that battle value? So I've got a mech with weapons that I'm going to fire every single turn. It's got a little bit of bite, but I don't have a ton of weapons. I've got speed. I've got armor. I see the Banshee, and I use the Banshee literally as a battering ram to get in there into the assault and just pummel the heck out of things, weather return fire, run to one mech, punch it, run somewhere else, punch that, fire away. Really, really utilize those aspects of the game. So with that, on the way in, I'm going to partner the Banshee with a very other aggressive close-in mech. If I'm doing a combined lance, I might see a Hunchback in there. We might see some mechs that are going to close. The Victor, that's getting a little pricey in battle value. Grasshopper, machines that want to get up there and utilize medium to short-range attacks. That's what I'm going to park the Banshee with. On the way in, as soon as I'm in range, I don't even need to know the modifiers. As soon as I'm in range, I'm going to start with that autocannon 5. I'm going to start with that PPC. Location is very interesting. Location is very interesting. In the sides, combined with an assault mech and those slabs of armor, that's going to be lasting for a while. They're not in the arms. That also frees up the arms for physical attacks. And we see a similar tactica with the Javelin. I need another sidebar here. Pushed up to the Battletech playlist. I love running the Javelin. 2 short-range 6-packs in a fast, low battle value mech. I want to, and center, left torso, right torso on the 6-packs. I want to get up there, punch, punch, missiles, missiles, punch, punch, missiles, missiles. Some interesting tactica there that essentially ports over 1-to-1 with more tonnage and more battle value into the Banshee. So I'm firing away. As soon as I'm in range, I'm starting to lay down some dice. I'm going to get close. I'm going to try and engage in physical attacks. While I'm doing that, when the modifiers start stacking for point-blank range and under the minimums for the PPC, I'm still going to fire. I'm still going to take those shots. I'm just going to still be blasting away. But utilizing the Banshee as a battering ram, as a physical attack battering ram, it works very, very well with that. Extremely well. And in an aggressive type lance, can't really have a mixed lance because then I'm not utilizing the battle value. In an aggressive forward-moving lance, it works very well. There's also the kind of what-if player. We need another sidebar on this, but this is kind of some important tactica, especially for the Banshee. I pushed up to the Wargaming playlist, Wargaming fundamentals, outside of specific systems, and active versus passive players. I'm just going to touch on that in a moment because the Banshee allows you to take advantage of this tactica. And this is just kind of my terminology. You'll map it yourself. A passive player is one that reacts. So I move my lance up and I see, okay, you're trying to outflank me with those 2 Jenners. Okay, so I'll send something over there. All right, you're moving up the center with your tanks. I'll send out my hovers and I'll just do a delaying action while I can get indirect fire from my warriors and hit you with long-range missiles. You might have a good plan. I might have solid plans. It might even be the correct tactical plan. It might even be you're moving stuff forward. I'm reacting to it and I'm capitalizing on a mistake that you made. But I am passive in that I am reacting. I am 1 or 2 steps behind you. I'm always 1 or 2 turns behind. An active player is one that says, okay, I've got my list. I've got my lances. I'm sending this out here. This is engaging there. This is happening there. And you don't change. You stick to the plan. In being active, you force your opponent to be passive and to react. That means they're a turn or 2 behind you. And even if it doesn't quite work out, so I'm going to send my 2 Jenners up the side, and we're going to outflank and just get in that deployment zone and just go totally crazy. And you delay it. You send out some hovers, some cheap hovers. You blow off my leg. You get a lucky shot. Another Jenner's running back. Yeah, it didn't work out, but I'm still pushing that forward. So with the Banshee, so we've got that framework, active versus passive players. With the Banshee, I'm pushing that forward. I'm being aggressive. I'll be a little bit reckless. I can afford to be a little bit reckless with assault mechs. Yeah, I could get hit with a lucky headshot. Yeah, I could get hit snake eye, center torso, take an engine hit, gyro hit. That could happen on any machine, but I can push it a little bit. If I'm aggressive with that and I get you on the passive side and I get that momentum, there's value in that. I want to cause damage. I want to cause chaos. But the Banshee as an aggressive, fast-moving assault mech with staying power and some hitting power, utilizing that, pushing that forward, that's where I see the tactica of this, in my opinion, very, very fun mech and machine to play.